Not washing the car can also be useful. Photograph textures of dirt and smudges can be easily found in our models. Not washing the car can also be useful. Photograph textures of dirt and smudges can be easily found in our models. Hello and welcome to this Breaking Broken Barrow news. Today we're scraping the bottom of the barrel and we've got a deep dive on Vanguard Edition content. So what are you going to get for your extra money? They also talk about how the models are made and how the music's made. So I've got the Broken Arrow OST here. And yeah, we'll just make that a bit low so you can listen to the wonderful Broken Arrow music. And yeah, so let's just get through it and see what we think, right? While we all wait for launch, there's not really much else to do. Deep dive on Vanguard Edition content. Today we'll focus on two parts of the content coming with the Vanguard Edition, the exclusive skins and the soundtrack. First, we'll post a blurb by Yuri. But I don't know what that Y is, because wouldn't it just be Yuri like that, like in Call of Duty? Anyway, I think this is actually a bit loud, and I'm trying to turn it down here, but there we go. Right, that's a bit better. Let me know if it's too quiet, and I won't be able to do anything about it because the video will already be up. Visual director for the game, who will expand on the process behind the creation of the beautiful models in the game. We'll also post all the cosmetic skins coming with the Vanguard Edition, so we'll see what you get for your money. I mean, really, the whole Vanguard thing is basically you pay more money, you get the game 3 days early. The skins, we'll get to the skins. Then we'll leave the microphone to Evgeny Shachukin, the composer behind the amazing and thrilling OST. Disclaimer: the soundtrack won't be an exclusive to the Vanguard Edition. We're looking into making it available separately after launch. I mean, you can just go on YouTube and it's all there. So, yeah. The models in Broken Arrow. Creating models for Broken Arrow is a complex but quite interesting process. The models, in which there is a constant bouncing between three variables: optimization, visual beauty of the model, asset production time. And asset production time. Slytherin is a UK company, right? This shouldn't be capitalized. This shouldn't be capitalized. There should be an "and" there, and this should be capitalized. So I'm pretty disgruntled. I mean, Slytherin is a UK publisher. I'm not happy about this, really. At least they didn't spell optimization with a Z. Asset production time. We always proceed from the principle that the main character of our game, a unit, be it a tank, SPHR, or infantry squad, I don't actually know what this is. Great. Senior professional in human resources. Self-propelled vehicle? What? If you know what it is, please just let me know. I'd like to learn. Our infantry squad should look as authentic as possible. This 3D team has developed its own pipeline. The 3D team has developed its own pipeline, sometimes with quite specific tools that are used in production. There is no point in describing our pipeline in detail, but few points are worth mentioning. There also shouldn't be a comma before "but." Realism is your best friend. Despite the large scale of the wargame and technical limitations, texture size, polycount, etc. associated with it, we're trying to validate models' authenticity. We're trying to validate the models' apostrophe after the S because it's plural, authenticity. So players won't have many doubts regarding how historically accurate the models are. So at some point we've introduced a rule saying that the validation of the unit should be based on real-life references, or a real-life reference, such as photos or video records, or a photo or a video record. This approach drastically mitigates any risks. Slytherin, mate, what are you doing? British company, they can't spell. This is really bad. And here we've got a beautiful vehicle. So if you guys don't know how video games are made, basically the unit you see is broken down into these 2D panels. Basically, they're called polygons. And then on top of the polygons is painted the paint, the actual detail. That's a texture. I have made my own games in the past. They're not incredible, but I do know a little bit about this. Here, for example, is an intermediate stage of checking the model of an American armored personnel carrier brackets ACV, where the hull dimensions are already similar to the real ones, and it remains only to fit the elements of the model to their rightful places. You've got to know the subject and be aware of your actions. A 3D artist is pretty much a jack of all trades. And then a dash there, brackets there. Oh, I'm not happy about this. I'm not happy about it. Can we expect this level of quality control in the finished game? Steel balaclava? Steel baklava? What's going on? You would think that the publisher would have read this. I mean, does it say who's... I mean, this is a publisher, Green, right? I don't know, I'm not happy about this. Anyway, it honestly doesn't matter, I'm just taking the piss. Any vehicle is a large and complex mechanism consisting of thousands of parts that make each machine unique, endowing each unit with its own charisma. A unit should not just look beautiful, but should, but should convey the soul of a real combat vehicle, be interesting to study from all sides. It should be a comma and then it should be and. Metal texture, layers of paint, metal textures, I suppose, although I suppose that can work as well. Layers of paint, inscriptions, detailing, all this is very important to display even despite the technical limitations. So yeah, basically the way it works is you get a more detailed model the more of these polygons you have, but that makes the game run worse and worse and worse because the game has to render all those polygons. So you can have like a blocky unit. So what they do in reality, which I don't think they've really discussed here, is at maximum there'll be 2 models for the unit, or maybe even 3. At maximum range it will literally just be a box with like 2 or 3 polygons, so when you're zoomed out and you're looking at everything, because it's all the way over there and it's like a tiny amount on your screen, you'll just see like 2 polygons and you know you won't be able to tell what it is. It's just a little dot, and as you zoom in a more detailed version will be rendered. And then as you get really close, the maximum detail version will be rendered, because there's no point rendering all those polygons if you physically can't see it. And that's called LOD, level of detail. If you're a big fan of the level of detail in this dev blog analysis, please do consider liking and commenting and subscribing. I'd also like to take the time to thank the generous channel joiners generously joining the channel. They get their names on the screen, they get the videos early, they get members exclusive videos at a rate of 1 per week. And yeah, they're the ones funding all this. I'm currently unemployed, so I sit here and belittle the work of others who have actually accomplished something in their life. I'm trying to finish a PhD in chemical engineering. That's why I look at grammar a lot, because I'm writing a thesis at the moment. But my funding ran out because I'm retarded. Anyway, that's enough of that. Let me just make a note of when I did the shilling. Shilling 8 minutes. This will help with the timestamps, which are in the description. Any vehicle is a large, complex mechanism. Yes, metal texture, layers of paint. Yeah, okay, so we already read that out. So this is a vehicle of some description. And then, like, do you see? So basically, there's a couple different ways they can do this. Either this will be a separate polygon, so there will actually be a polygon that's raised above the other polygons. That's quite expensive. So what they can do is they have... the texture might just have some shading on it. So do you see how this is a different color to this? It makes the illusion that there's depth when there isn't. The third way of doing it is called a height map or a bump map. And basically that's a texture you apply which adds depth to the object. So you don't have to have a separate polygon, but when the computer renders the texture, the paint on the top, it will read that height map and automatically make certain things look like they're higher and apply lighting to them and so on. It's really interesting, actually. I've made some games in the past, but they were bad, so now I just sit here and criticize the actions of others. So you see the detail here, right, with the raises. The whole world is a reference. A set of references and visual oversight is of great importance to the artist. Each of our artists has his own personal folder with various photo and video references. Such folders may occupy dozens of gigabytes on a hard drive. Chipping, welding, priming, paint texture, it all helps to revive the look of the equipment in the game. Not washing the car can also be useful. Photograph textures of dirt and smudges can be easily found in our models. So yeah, another thing you can do is you can have the texture for like the base coat, and then you can have another texture that just adds dirt, and that will be applied second, and most of it will be transparent, and then you can get your dirt in. Right, so this is a height map. This is great. So I haven't actually read it before, but basically, yeah, this is a height map. This is a bump map. So this would be applied with the texture to make the texture look like it has depth, to make it look like it has high points and low points. How cool is that? How cool is that? And that's why it's this funny color, because basically that's giving the information about the bumping. So this is probably from this part here. What is interesting, some characteristic chips' textures contamination are transferred into the game almost unchanged, and sometimes in unexpected ways. For example, for the M60, the texture of the moulded turret is originally a photo of ordinary sand on the beach converted to normal. So they're also called height maps or normal maps, so converted to a normal map. Right, it just says converted to normal. So basically the way they've applied this dirt here is they've just got a texture of sand on a beach, put it in a computer program to make it look funky like this, and then told the computer that you only take the height information from this, you don't take the colour info. Sorry, I've got a very itchy ear for some reason. You only take the colour information. So how cool is that? Not washing the car can also be useful. Not washing the car can also be useful. Photograph textures of dirt and smudges can be easily found in our models. Not washing the car can also be useful. Photograph textures of dirt and smudges can be easily found in our models. 12 minutes intro. Okay. Then we've got camouflages. Is that actually how it... Okay, well, I've been proven wrong. Yeah, it camouflages... I don't know, is it... Wait, is there a plural of camouflage? Third person present, camouflages. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is correct. Personality to the max. We pay special attention to the creation of camouflages, because there shouldn't be a comma before because they allow us to achieve the best visual flavour for the vehicle. In camo production, we try to keep a fine balance between historicity. That's probably a word, actually. Yeah, historically authentic. The historicity, okay. The historicity. Yeah, okay. And personality of the vehicle. And the personality of the vehicle. Due to this, sometimes we have to make compromises. For example, in order to use the camouflage that actually existed, characteristic for this army on later vehicles... Oh man, this is a very poorly worded sentence. I.e., we have some semi-historical colouring. For example, modern iterations of Abrams tanks in Sea camouflage of the 70s, or to use a composite image where some elements were found in photos of real-life vehicles. I mean, blimey, that is one hell of a sentence. We paid special attention to the Vanguard Edition camouflages, as we didn't just want to strike a balance between authenticity and personality. We wanted to capture the spirit of each species. Through these camouflages, we hope we have succeeded. So here's the F-16, so that looks pretty cool. The camouflage of our F-16 is inspired by the real camouflage of this machine. It is F-16 number 87-0241 from the exercise of the 12th of August 2001. We think it captures well both the character of the aircraft, swift and skittish like a tiger, and the character of the entire striker deck. A swift, stunning strike on the enemy. Isn't striker spelt with a Y? The striker military thing, isn't it? Striker... Isn't it a Y? Yeah, it is. Yeah, the attention to detail is incredible. But this is not actually how it looks in game. This is just a photo. So are we actually going to see it in game? Well, hopefully. Here's the F-22, and that's not in game either. That's from photography, somebody's photography thing. The F-22 also has a real-life prototype from a photo of Santos Cacares. I'm sorry, Spanish people, hopefully. I might be insulting more people here. Who captured this stealth fighter on his camera as it took off from Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada on the morning of the 19th of November 2021. Wow, that's a really good photo. It looks like a 3D render. We don't know much about this type of coat. Like, what's going on with the sky? It must be very cloudy. At which point, you'd expect this to have some fog in front of it. So it really does just look like a 3D render. You might have done some touch-ups to it, but yeah, it looks great. I mean, you see this line back here. If it was a 3D render, that line wouldn't be there. I don't know if that comes through on the the preview on the actual video. It might just be on my monitor actually. Yeah, it does make the F-22 look particularly spectacular, as does the entire US SOF spec. Unquestionably a high-tech tool for solving the toughest problems on the battlefield. Then we've got the KA-52, and that's another photo by the looks of things. This camouflage has a special place in the hearts of our artists, as it relates to the KA-52's nickname, Alligator. We think it builds a strong connection with the KA-52's character. This coating is real. For the first time, this KA-52 has been shown to the public at the Paris Air Show in 2013. We think that this paint job expresses the KA-52's nickname in the best possible way. Be careful not to be deceived by the relative slowness of this model. What? It has very sharp teeth and strong armor like a real alligator. So does the Russian Forces Airborne spec. Abrams M1A2, in honor of those who serve. Interesting, so this will be from some museum. The camouflage of this vehicle, a collective image of the entire armoured power of the United States, inspired by the real prototype. Is a capital letter here? There should be a full stop here. Inspired by the real prototype, this camouflage has been creatively redesigned to emphasize all the strongest aspects of the tank. The strongest armor, or strong armor, an accurate gun, pure power, and inevitability. I mean, I suppose that can be used in this case, as well as the entire deck of the US Armour Brigade, a steely, unstoppable avalanche on the cutting edge of the attack. T-14 Armata, and here we've got a picture of the T-14 Armata, apparently. It is also a special camouflage for artists. This vehicle refers to the colouring of Soviet tanks from World War II. I mean, this is sadly a black and white image. The IS-2 steel machine, which is presumably this, the crown of the power of the USSR tank building, echoes the spirit of the T-14 Armata, the crown of modern tank building. Okay, emphasizing the connection of the tank building school. In our opinion, they should have just paid me to proofread this, man. I could have fixed it all up 10 minutes, 15 minutes, no problem. I'm not employed. You don't have to pay me that much. Just put me in the credits. Just tell everybody I'm the world #1 Broken Arrow player. I mean, you would think that the English-speaking publishers might have had, based in London... Oh, okay, well, actually, that explains it. Yeah. In our opinion, this camouflage, although never applied on the real T-14, corresponds very well to the spirit of both the vehicle and the whole deck as a whole. There is no task for the Guards Tank Brigade that it could not deal with, no full stop. Please help me. These are just a few of the inspirations of all the skins going into the Vanguard edition. Here are all the skins, one per each special. Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Okay, 1 second, lads. I'll get back to all of it. Don't worry, I'm gonna read. There's loads of good stuff here. I highly recommend getting a native English speaker to proofread these development diaries. I would have expected someone from Slytherin, based in the UK, to have read through this. It is littered with spelling mistakes, grammatical inaccuracies, and... Okay, I actually have to learn how to spell this word. And generally does not scream attention to detail. Okay, and generally screams no attention to, which is the opposite of what the development diary is presumably designed to you know, to put out there, to what's that word? What's that word? It designed to elucidate? Is that a nice word? Elucidate. And which is the opposite of what the development diary is presumably designed to elucidate. I think it's elucidate. Elucidate. There's definitely a better word for this. Make something clear. Explain. Convey is the word I'm looking for. Presumably designed to convey. I highly recommend getting a native English speaker to proofread these development diaries. I would have expected someone from Slytherin, based in the UK, to have read through this. It is littered with spelling mistakes, grammatical inaccuracies, and generally screams no attention to detail, which is the opposite of what the development diary is presumably designed to convey. And there we go. Now I can get a bunch of comments. Call me an idiot. Oh, mate, get me out. Right, so let's get back to where we were. Right, so here are the skins. Here are the skins. Okay, so 21, 48 skins. So here's the T14 armor. First, a word on the skins, right? When you actually play this game, you're actually pretty far away from the action, and if you don't want to lose, you don't want to be zooming in on the action. So I do think that let's have a look here. Just get some broken arrow footage. So, like, this is typically how you look at the game. If you zoom in, you basically lose the game. You can see the FPS is very, very low in the game. So they were talking about performance, but, you know, we do what we can. Yeah, the FPS is really not very good, which is a big shame. But look, that is your BTR 80 for most of the game. Do you see it? Do you see it? You can probably barely see it, right? So yeah, basically... skins, yeah. Anyway, some people will zoom in on slow mode and look at the skins, and this caters to them. But mainly, I think everybody's getting the Vanguard edition for that £10 extra, that 3 days, those 3 days early access. I have to be very, very careful with my grammar now, otherwise somebody's going to say, well, you're not doing so good. Anyway, this is the T14 Armata skin, which looks nice, I guess, and apparently looks like this. I wouldn't know. This is in grey, and we can see the star there, and the stripe, and this is the stripe, and this is the star. It's almost like they're Americans. Then we've got the SU-25 Frogfoot, which they didn't actually speak about, but okay. So this is the Frogfoot. Looks very pretty. Yeah, looks nice. I'm not actually sure what the normal one looks like, to tell you the truth. And isn't the normal one of this just green anyway? Would be nice to have some comparisons, but maybe the comparisons aren't particularly flattering. Then we've got the one off Top Gun, where he goes mew, right? That's all we need to say about that. Then we've got a some sort of hind upgrade. Was that an MI-28? I mean, shouldn't there be a turret down here? Or is it just an MI-24? Anyway, it looks very nice. You got the cool teeth here. Looks like a Looney Tunes character. Here you've got the alligator, which... I mean, this one looked way cooler. Look at that. Look how bright the colours are there. I mean, no offense, but like this is just kind of washed out, and I mean, it's green. I guess it's like military camouflage, right? You can't have it be too bright because then you die. But, you know, come on. Then we've got the F-22 one. Looks very, very nice, very sleek, right? It's got all the paint on it, like the other one. And yeah, it looks pretty cool. And then this is the F-16 with the... It's a shame they all kind of look a bit washed out. Is it just because it's dark, so there's no light on it? Or is it just because it's supposed to be a military camouflage? But yeah, there you go, in the black and white. Here we've got an A-10 Thunderbolt skin. I'm not quite sure what the skin is. Oh, I see, it's got a snake here. And it's got Black Hawks written on it. Black something. I'm not sure that is a H, to tell you the truth. But yeah, it looks cool, I guess. I mean, that one's just not that great, really. You can barely tell it's on there. Then, okay, so this one looks really good. You've got the American flag, and you've got some words there. What does that say? It says Democracy Deliverer. It says Democracy Deliverer. I don't know if you can see that there. So yeah, that looks good. Nice big American flag. Then we've got the F-35 with the Thunderbolt thing. So that looks alright, I guess. So yeah, that's it for the skins. Now we'll talk about the music in Broken Arrow. The music in Broken Arrow. My musical background is deeply rooted in my inability to spell. Alongside my colleague Alexander Tochilkin... Right, so basically they got the Russian devs to write this dev blog. You would think that they'd pass it through the English-speaking publishers and they'd just be able to sort it all out. To be honest, if the Russian guy wrote this, I've got a lot of respect for them, actually. Their English is very good. Like, my Russian isn't very good, so... I don't like to, you know, put people down. Alexander Tochilkin, maybe, who leads the audio department in our team. We have travelled a long path through the electronic music scene, releasing vinyl records, performing at festivals, and building our artistic voice. Over time, we transitioned into the world of sound design and interactive music. I've created extensive sound design for a variety of visual projects, as well as dynamic soundtracks for games and installations. This is better written than the other stuff. So was the other stuff written by an English speaker, and this was written by a Russian. He's absolutely mogging him. This is perfectly written. Oh dear. Anyway, so it turns out their sound team is 2 people, right? So he's the lead of the audio department. So presumably this guy's doing, you know, pew pew pew, and then whoever's writing this, who hasn't actually listed his name, is doing the music, presumably, right? And it might say who it's by. No, not here at least. As a passionate gamer since childhood, I've always been a big fan of game music. From the early days of Atari, through the iconic Mega Drive and SNES soundtracks, to modern masterpieces like Battlefield 2042 and Cyberpunk 2077. Right, so the music guy can spell. So pretty happy with the music guy so far. And, you know, we've got the music in the background. It sounds alright. When it comes to references and inspirations for the Broken Arrow soundtrack, I would highlight artists such as Johann Skugg, or Skuggy, and Yuka Rintamaki, or Juka Rintamaki, or something, I don't know. Battlefield 3 and 4. Brian Tyler, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, really? And P.T. Adam Suzyuk. I'm sorry, Polish people. And Marcin, yeah, I'm not even trying that one. Przybyłowicz.
Przybyłowicz.
Come on, how?
Przybyłowicz.
Alright, if you insist.
Adamczyk.
Adamczyk. Okay, so this is Chick. This one, I don't know, man. So that's Cyberpunk 2077. I'm really surprised that he's more inspired by the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 soundtrack than Hans Zimmer in the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 soundtrack, because that was way better. If you think about Whiskey Hotel OST, right? I mean, I can't play it because it'll get copyright claimed, but you need to go listen to this. This is so good. That's the, you know, when you play multiplayer and it goes, Rangers lead the way, and then they win. That's this one, and it was, that's really, really good. And then the enemy of my enemy is my friend. This one, that's incredible. The Hans Zimmer music of Modern Warfare 2 was incredible, so I'm really surprised that he prefers Modern Warfare 3 stuff. I also draw inspiration from the classic soundtracks of Sega Genesis and SNES games. Cinematic scores like Black Hawk Down, Tenet, and Inception, bwah. Music from Crime, bwah. And classical orca, bwah. In terms of production, I primarily work on a PC using Reaper or Ableton as my main DAWs. Something workstation... Is he going to explain what this means? Digital audio workstation, okay. I make extensive use of virtual synthesizers such as Serum, Massive, Diva, and numerous sample libraries like Native Instruments Contact, complemented by various effects from guitar pedal emulations to retro reverb units. Hardware plays an important role too. Our custom-built modular synthesizer provides unique electronic textures and glitch effects, while vintage synths like the Roland JP8000, D50, and the Soviet Polykovs deliver powerful basses and lead sounds. So like this should be a capital and then this shouldn't have a comma before and. But this guy's grammar is so much better than the 3D artists. So yeah, credit to the sound guy. It's a shame he didn't actually say what his name was. He highlighted his boss, but he didn't actually say who he was. So I think that's a shame. It might come at the end. In terms of the music, I mean, we've been listening to it. I think it sounds alright. I honestly thought it just sounded a bit generic. But, you know, it hasn't finished. It hasn't been finished yet. We haven't heard all the tracks yet. It does sound a bit generic, but generally for background video game music, you kind of want it to be, right? But it depends. And you'll notice that they're not just using AI stuff to make all the music, like a certain other developer who's just using AI stuff to make all the music. My creative process typically begins with a rough sketch based on the required theme, whether it's an aggressive trailer piece or a subtle ambient background track for the game. I then proceed to arrangement and instrumentation, followed by mixing and final mastering, all of which I handle myself. Alexander has also contributed some outstanding tracks to the soundtrack, particularly during the early stages of Broken Arrow's development. So that's really interesting. I honestly thought it was just AI. I thought this was an AI-generated soundtrack, because it does kind of sound... I mean, that's a great insult. I need to go and listen to it properly. I mean, it's not finished yet, as in, like, the finished product hasn't been released yet. I'm sure there'll be some really killer tracks on there. But yeah, I never really paid much attention to it. I'm pretty sure I played the game with it switched off, so I do apologise. I'm actually going to go back and listen to it now. He's clearly put a lot of effort into it. Another major part of my work is the dynamic music engine we developed. Built using Fmod middleware, it consists of numerous small musical pieces of varying intensity and mood, designed to react dynamically to in-game events, battle intensity, and different gameplay phases. As a result, players experience a musical background that is assembled in real time and adapts seamlessly to the flow of the game. The system is highly flexible, offering a unique auditory experience in every match. In addition, within the mission builder, players can select specific music tracks for key gameplay moments, or even upload their own OGG files, so .ogg, it's like .mp3, providing an extra layer of personalization. That's the foundation of our dynamic music engine, so that's really cool to hear. That the custom engine, you know, the custom scenarios you can upload your own audio tracks, which means you can do your own dialogue as well, presumably. And yeah, so this is one of the reasons why soundtracks like this can sound generic, because what's actually happening in the game is that it will ramp up in intensity as units begin to die. Like, there'll be like a baseline dum 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 dum, right? And then if things start dying, then like a guitar riff might kick in, and that will just like seamlessly fade in and then fade out over the top of the baseline. And so when you're mixing these to just release to just a general audience, then it's, you know, it's different, right? So that is a really interesting thing people do with game music, and that's the advantage of having a proper composer, because an AI can't really do that. An AI can just spit out one soundtrack. Give it a few years, right? But for now, an AI can just spit out one soundtrack, and you can't go through and edit it in like Fruity Loops or whatever this guy's using. Change around the sections, strip parts out of it. It's literally just... it generates it. I can show you that right now, actually. So this is Suno, and then you can, well, whatever. I mean, okay, Broken Arrow style music, create, and then it says that you can't listen to it until you sign up. Well, that's a pain. I do actually have an account. Okay, give me a sec. I just don't want it to show up on the screen. It's got my name on it, basically, so... Right, so you can just say Broken Arrow Music, and then look, it's made something, and honestly, it's pretty serviceable. And it just came up with this itself, right? So that's pretty cool, right? You can make some decent stuff with it. I just make shitpost music basically. So yeah, if you told it to just make generic rock music, it would do that as well. So it's quite effective, but you know it just spits out a soundtrack. You can't get that dynamic layering of music and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. And here's his keyboard with some shite on it. I don't know, maybe that helps him think. I don't know. Here's my Polyvox synth. We bought it with Alexander a long time ago. A bus driver brought it to us from another city. That time it didn't cost much, since many elderly people were getting rid of old Soviet stuff, and it wasn't yet it wasn't fashionable again yet. Now it's a pretty solid deal. It is a very aggressive analog unit from the 1980s, made by Formanta USSR. Harsh raw bass lines, fat lead slightly out of tune, weird noises. Here's what it applies to. Okay, hardly slightly out of tune. Oh, okay. As far as I know, Trent Reznor also used it in his massive Doom OST. Oh, interesting. That was actually a really good one. Mine is also charged with a light garland, since 50% of the time I work at night. Okay. And the unit itself doesn't have any display or lights to see the knobs and parameters. Well, have you considered putting the lights on in your rooms? Anyway, here we've got an Evolver. This is Dave Smith Instruments Evolver, a little beast of a synth from a legendary engineer who developed the iconic Prophet from the 80s, which made a huge impact on almost every record of that time. This is an analog/digital desktop synth with 4 sequencers, allowing you to do interesting computerized yet warm and fat complex sounds and sequences. You want a comma here, really. It can also do roaring bass and lush leads. I bought it from our colleague Volva Valda, who is now producing videos for Broken Arrow. Interesting. I also customized it with non-stock knobs, which I took from an old Akai MIDI controller. So yeah, the guy clearly knows his stuff. I don't know anything about this, I'm not gonna lie. I know Suno.ai, and that's all I know. It looks cool though. This is a modern clone of the legendary Roland TB303 synth, famous for its iconic acid bass lines. This TB3 version has some additional features and a touchscreen for sequencing. You can hear such sounds at the end of An Idea for an Ambush and Burning Gasoline. Do we have An Idea for an Ambush or Burning Gasoline in here? Sadly, we do not, so it looks like they're saving the best until last, right? Anyway, cool. The 303 brings a good amount of tension and danger to the music track. Yeah, it's also the best infantry round ever made. The British 303 Enfield. For the small magazine Lee Enfield, yeah, best round ever made. And here is my PV Tracer electric guitar from 1989. Wow. American-made baby of yellow colour. Along with electronic music, I'm also into rock and metal stuff. My favourites are Sepultura, Gojira, All Them Witches, and good old power metal such as Blind Guardian. To be honest, I mostly program heavy guitars on a PC computer with the help of contact libraries and virtual amps and pedals such as Brainworks Rock Rack on Neural DSP stuff. The Gojira signature is one of my favourites, but I believe there are some lines and sounds in the OST made on this old yellow PV with my hands on it, so that's cool. If you hear a guitar in the soundtrack, it might be this. We continue to expand and refine the soundtrack, and there is much more music on the way for Broken Arrow. So there you go, I hope you enjoyed this brief read-through, which took me 40 minutes because I'm a bad reader. It definitely got better towards the end. In terms of, like, the utility, right, so basically the Vanguard edition costs £10 more, and it gives you 3 days early access, 10 skins, and access to the soundtrack. Now, let's be entirely honest. The entire soundtrack's going to be on YouTube day one. The 10 skins don't really matter because you always play zoomed out. So really it's about the 3 days early access. And if you want to get an edge in multiplayer, you kind of need to get that. So I will be getting that. It is cool to see, how they make the models and stuff. I do find it interesting. I find the passion that the music guy has really good. Like you can tell he really cares about his project, and that does help me buy into it. So I suppose it is good marketing. If you want to see some more Broken Arrow, right? There's plenty of Broken Arrow on my channel. If you just check the description or whatever, there's a playlist with like over 100 Broken Arrow videos in it. Somewhere here it is. So yeah, what? That's the wrong one. This it's here somewhere. There it is, 118 videos. Anyway, I hope you have a lovely day, and I hope you are suitably hyped for Broken Arrow, and I hope you improved your English and your grammar in this brief time that you spent with me. And I'll stop hogging the screen now. Goodbye.